Hello there. As a proud millennial gamer, I come from an era that you got a few games for a console you owned, maybe 2 to 3 times a year. If you're lucky, that wasn't including blockbuster rentals. Those games were, and still to this day, probably occupy the hippocampus of your brain and will randomly rise into the forefront of your thoughts, and then boom, you'll be chasing that dopamine and nostalgic feeling until you satiate it. For me, no game occupies that realm better than Star Wars: The Knights of the Old Republic. Possibly one of the greatest RPGs ever made in the Western world. Sorry to fall out. And also one of the greatest Star Wars games ever made. Sorry to Battlefront. If you stumbled across this video and you've heard of KOTOR, as the fans call it, you've probably played this game once a year since... Let me look up the year. Scroll. Oh, 2003. Yeah. So, I've played KOTOR at least 20 to 30 plus times over the years on the Xbox, PC, and even on my Nintendo Switch. And it's still perfect after all these years. But I needed something different, something fun this time. Something like a challenge. KOTOR is honestly an easy game. If you've played a D20 dice system CRPG before, it's not that hard. That could be from Dungeons & Dragons knowledge, maybe you've played Baldur's Gate 3 recently, but if you know a D20 system, you can figure out KOTOR. So for this run of KOTOR, I made it a challenge. And I looked up some different builds that I wanted to try, and I found this one from a KOTOR forum post that I'm going to share in the description below. Essentially, the rules for the challenge are simple. Our main character here, matthew.E, will only be using blasters from the start of the game till the moment we take down Malak. I guess I should put a spoiler warning here, but I'm gonna dialogue through this game, so please don't watch if you don't want to see it played through. Additionally, we have a few mods to make the game playable on modern machines, like graphic updates, resolution updates, a widescreen enabler mod exe thing. And then I included something called the Restored Content mod, which I didn't know existed for KOTOR 1. Inside this mod, it actually comes with a difficulty called Impossible difficulty. Now, I've played this game on hard, and I've never thought it was that much of a challenge, so calling itself impossible seemed perfect for this. In the character creation screen, we build our character with a focus on blasters. So we want high dexterity, so we're going to go down the path of the Scout and eventually into the Jedi Sentinel. A combination of making sure we get enough stats, but also making sure that we gain enough skills, not only because we need to get them so that we can get by, like running through the game, but we also want dex so we can shoot hard and raise our AC where we can and increase our saving throws. Oh, and we also want those sweet, sweet implants. Well, there's enough of that. So let's get started. Starting off, we awaken on the Endar Spire. Rudely awoken. Well, honestly, we get woken up in this dope-ass 2-bedroom apartment with this amazing view of outer space. But as we wake up to blaster fire on the hull of the ship, our roommate, who we've conveniently never seen because we quote-unquote work opposite shifts, comes in and tells us we gotta get the hell out of Dodge and maybe save this woman named Bastila. Trask is my favorite character in KOTOR, mostly because he just breaks the fourth wall at every opportunity. But at the same time, he's just perfect for video game speak. I mean, he teaches us how to open our own footlocker, how to put on clothes, and even how to consume his entire entity and identity and motor skills just to open doors for us. The Endar Spire is the perfect intro tutorial. We can't die, and we have a blaster pistol to feel as useless as the most common soldier as we can. Really, basking in the I'm just a scout feeling of an RPG. So we slap a sword into Trask's hand, and we have him charge into battle for us as we shoot from behind the lines. The cutscenes here rock. The Sith soldiers, who have the best armor in Star Wars, honestly start to wreck us because we're on impossible mode and we have terrible armor. Eventually, we reach the bridge of the Endar Spire, and Trask is really nervous about us not having a melee weapon equipped. So we go through the dialogue again, and eventually we open the door. Well, they all die, and we progress forward. Trask and I, at this point, are BFFs, and we're planning where we may buy an apartment together after we escape, but only as good friends, just casual roommates with a long, violent history. As we plan this, we're interrupted by the worst embodiment of a new metal band lead guitarist, who Trask valiantly sacrifices himself to hold them back, just so we can escape. We sadly have to replace Trask with the most whiniest and honestly most believable character in the KOTOR universe, which is Carthonasi. We escape, crash land on a planet called Taris, Karth saves our tails, I have a nightmare, and we find our new mission. Find Bastila, the Zlatan of the Jedi Order, and also find a way off this planet. Karth and I leave our apartment and immediately are greeted by the National Sith Human Workers Party, stumbling across alien humanoids in a rundown apartment complex. Honestly, playing this game as an adult, you kind of realize how much the Sith and the Empire really are some wild imperialists. But this is not that type of video. Well, the Sith hate witnesses, call us some vulgarities, and in turn we murder them and let the surviving Duros live. From here on out, Taris acts as the perfect tutorial world. We run into loan sharks, drunks, racists, the UFC, and of course people with bounties on their head. All of these incidents are solved with our trusty blaster or what little money we have left in our pocket. It turns out going light side for this run was going to make us extremely poor, but at the same time we needed all the money we could get for the best equipment we could find. And also a ton of med packs because impossible difficulty honestly is no joke, at least as a blaster only user. Eventually, we find the Sith shaking down another non-human, and because we said, hey, do you have a warrant for that, we are immediately in a firefight. Turns out this guy was completely guilty, and we killed these soldiers who were just doing their job. So, we steal their uniforms so we can go to the lower city, because a place called the lower city is going to love a military uniform. The lower city is the first moment that I truly grasp I'm going to have to outlevel everything in this damn game to survive using a blaster. These gangs mean business. We follow our rails here. We trade our uniform, we join the Hidden Backs, do a couple of bounties where it ethically makes sense as a lightsider, and find our way to the Undercity. The Undercity rocks our world. Rat ghouls are an absolute menace, and I think the restoration mod includes doubling the amount of rat ghouls. We transport back to our apartment to heal up the party so much. Something I have never done this much in my life playing this game. While we're down there, we explore around, we meet Mission, agree to save Zalbar, and do my favorite side quest, which is gathering these 3 journals and then letting the poor trodden people of the Undercity leave to find a so-called promised land. Anyway, we shoot our way through the sewers, free Zalbar, and then find our way to the Black Fulcur secret base, and we feed a Rancor some grenades. Once inside the base, we forget to save after making it to the garage level, so we get to do it all over again and then take so many stimulants that we kill an entire room of people for an engine part. We swoop race, save Bastila, shoot some more people, and voila, we got the main person we were here for. Next up, we talk to Canderous, buy T3, break into a base, kill Dark Jedi, meet the Exchange, die to Kalanord, reload, kill Kalanord, and then get off of Taris. With Taris behind us, our party here makes it to Tatooine, where arguably, for this run, we start the most useless part of our journey. We learn to become a Jedi. We enter the code, we build a lightsaber that we immediately unequipped, and then we're off to clear the grove of the dark side energy. This part of the journey is super important because we want Juhani to be in our party, but it's also the first forced solo fight required to do so, not counting the UFC. To prepare, we find out that the restored content mod makes the fields of Tatooine so much more packed with animals in addition to the Cath Hounds that we are dropping medpacks, stimulants, and returns to the Ebon Hawk just to make our way around all of this. But once we reach the Grove, we save, inject enough Star Wars steroids that we physically can, and then rapid shot our way into Naruto's Talk no Jutsu until Juhani realizes she's not that bad of a cat. Side note, this build has 0 points into Persuade, and I realize here, this is the first time that it really does suck to try and talk your way out of a problem.
Lies. Leave me and...
Anyway, Johnny sees the light, and we return to the Jedi Council, and they say, hey, can you go play a game of Finding Nemo at this really spooky dark side looking underground bunker that is about 275 feet from the Jedi Enclave that we've conveniently never spent time looking into? We do. We get told Cellcats were slaves to a master builder race, answer some questions on a computer terminal, and find out Nemo did not find his dad, and then discover our first star map. And with this star map, we have our main quest. Find the other maps, shoot as many Sith as possible, and save the galaxy from Malak. With this, Operation Blaster Master is full effect. To complete our build, we need more than just levels. We need gear. This entire idea of shooting people instead of using a lightsaber really isn't built into KOTOR 1. We have limited feats, and honestly, not a great selection of gear. So here's the breakdown, with also how many credits we need. We need the Reaction System Implant, which is 15,000 credits on Korriban, post-Leviathan. Adrenaline Stimulator Belt, 18,000 credits on Korriban, post-Leviathan. The Karakin Gloves on Tatooine, 7,500 credits, which we can acquire at any time we can get to Tatooine. The Targeting Optics Head, which is 9,000 credits on Korriban. We can also acquire that at any time. The Barawagian Heavy Repeating Assault Rifle, 19,000 credits on Yavin 4 after the 5th star map, which is literally right before the end game. And that actually brings us to 68,000 credits total. So needing about 69,000 credits to complete our build, and that's actually including that our main armor piece will actually be Kalo Nord's armor, so we just need to get like 1 star map to get that. And I'll be honest, I've never thought about how to make money in this game because I don't think I've ever needed it. But Impossible Mode, well, at least as a blaster only user, has been really hard up until this point. So I actually started Googling, and thank God, or thank goodness, people still ask questions when that Reddit archives posts from years ago. But I never realized this, but it turns out selling items to the trader on Yavin 4 is the best way to sell anything in this game, because he buys items at a higher rate, which includes the racing bonds you get from doing the swoop races on Tatooine. So lesson learned, I should have never sold anything during my stay on Taris. Lessons learned. To begin, I head to Tatooine with some credits because the Kraken gloves give a lot to my saving throws, and I hate failing things in this game. So we head there, make a bit of money, buy the gloves, and then head over to Kashyyyk. I've decided my team shall be Zalbar and Juhani, and I'd rather get the socio-political drama of Zalbar being anti-slavery versus his pro-slavery brother's fiasco out of the way now before I've invested levels of gear into him. So we get to Kashyyyk, lose Zalbar, learn how colonization works by greedy capitalist Zerka, and then descend into the Shadow Realm. Sorry, the Shadowlands. We get ambushed, we gear up, discover an old hermit, get some poachers chased out of the jungle, and then head deeper into the Shadowlands. At this stage in the game, we're dying a lot. So we begin to focus on doing side quests, which at some points feels like more work than it's actually going to be worth. But being overleveled helps with everything moving forward. So we do save scum a lot and use all of our med packs to make it through these ambushing Mandalorians and killing anything in our path. Eventually, we find Zalbar's dad, who says he went out for a pack of smokes and some milk, but he lost it inside of Rancor's side or his butt, and we do a ritual hanging of an animal and then acquire the pack of Marlboros and Baka's hilt. And then also what's left is now it's just to find the star map. Star map is actually really easy, but we do find out something really funny here. The droids that get summoned here when you try to be a goody two-shoe will throw grenades at you. As a blaster user, I'm standing next to the star map NPC computer console. The grenades seem to be killing the NPC that opens up the star map. So I had to reload a couple of times until I realized I couldn't progress forward because I couldn't interact with the NPC after a grenade went off. The solution? Run forward. Anyway, we acquire the star map, head back to Wookieeville, and then lead a rebellion against the capitalism of Zerka and emancipate the Wookiee people. We also kill Zalbar's brother, promise he'll come back as chieftain if he gets a sweet new sword, and then we leave Kashyyyk. So we did it. We liberated a planet until, well, this all happens again in the future. Off to Tatooine. So we're back. But this time we're here for a reason. We help people by doing it the way everyone expects us to. We give money to single mothers and promise to kill an indigenous people on the planet in exchange for a hunting license. Okay, well, we're not going to keep that promise, but sometimes you gotta lie to do the right thing. There's a lot of moral lessons to be made in 2003, I'm starting to realize. We end up force persuading an Ithorian to sell us Murderbot 4700, aka HK47, for a bargain deal of credits, and we head out to the desert. This is where we discover from the restoration mod that Jawas will just be vibing out here. It's honestly hysterical to me because they just roam around doing nothing, which fits thematically to me. Anyway, we find out Sand People got hands, and so do the raids. But raids also have killer XP, and we can sell their skull plates on Yavin 4. So we save scum a bit around here, get a level or two, and then we continue on our way to find the Sand People Enclave. The Sand People here love our new authentic garments, and we strike up a deal. Farming equipment for them to leave this area that they occupy. Back and forth, we strike up the deal, free some Jawa. Now we can head out to the western dunes and hunt ourselves a dragon. We sacrifice some Bantha's mental health and let an experienced hunter bomb the hell out of a dragon, get a pearl for Juhani's lightsaber, find the star map, and we are out of here. Star map counter, 3. After Tatooine, I see we're really making progress, and we have the levels and the credits to really push forward. We can't really buy the best in slot equipment, but at least we can stack up on med packs and stimulants whenever we see them. I love Korriban as a planet, but I also realize getting there after the Leviathan makes the most sense, at least in terms of gear acquisition. So we head to my favorite thematic planet, but also the least fun when you're trying to beat the game in somewhat of a timely manner, which is Manaan. The planet of KOTOR and Switzerland-like politics is honestly the fastest planet. We skip a lot of the niceties here. We find the Republic Enclave, do some math equations, get an access card, and then we waltz into the Sith base. And we blast our way through everyone and everything. And honestly, I think I found out for the first time ever that if you do not gain the quest to find the missing Selkath youth, you just won't get access to the remaining part of the Sith base. Or that's what it seemed like because I tried everything to open this door and nothing worked. So, anyway, we try to leave, get put on trial, and we try to let our government-assigned prosecutor defend us, and we get executed. I didn't even know that was a thing that could happen on the main storyline. So that was wild. We try again, represent ourselves this time, and get off scot-free. Our next step, go to the Republic Enclave, find out that they're breaking the planet's laws, take a submarine, and kill our way through crazed Selkath and droids. I always love this underwater base because it just has such a horror vibe to it that Star Wars just executes so well in this game.
The water is filled with cow!
Moving forward, we take our water suits, travel across the ocean floor, sonic blast some sharks, and discover we have an ultimatum. Poison the water of the entire ocean or blow up some harvesting equipment. Turns out, as a Jedi, we do not support Big Kolto, so we blow up their equipment. Appease an ancient shark god, find the star map, and then stand trial again. It's probably been 2 days of in-game time since our last trial, but we just tell him, hey, there's a big-ass hell shark god, and we save their life. They get excited, and they let us leave the planet. Star map counter, 4. Now it's time for the Leviathan. As we try to head to Korriban, we get tractor beamed, captured, tortured, and we find out how broken a melee Jedi is in impossible mode as Juhani frees us from our captivity. And honestly, this part of the playthrough sucks. Karth and Bastila I have paid zero attention to, and even leveling them manually only does so much. But the restored content mod hits us with a doozy on this one. In the medbay, we find a Sith officer that we convince to bring us all the way to the bridge, where she eventually turns on us. We die here, but we try again, stimmed out of our minds, and we're now at the bridge to progress the storyline. This takes a couple of tries because it turns out the little talking cutscene here would drop all of our buffs on as a party. So we had to save right as the combat was starting, buff up just to fight these people. We also needed to focus the grenaders here because they just kept blowing up Karth or Bastila. Either way, we survive. Karth gets his revenge, finds out some big news about us, and then we have to dip. So we run, we find Malak, and find out the big reveal is that we're Revan, and Bastila saved our lives way back when we got shot at by Malak. So big deal here, but Malak is like, why do you only use blasters? And I'm like, let me show you. So rapid shot, boom, Malak runs away. We do it again, and then Bastila tries her best, Trask Olga impersonation, and we have to run away. Everyone finds out who we were in high school on board the Ebon Hawk and accepts us for who we are and our new name, and then we head to Korriban. We get absolutely kitted up here because we're Revan now, and we head into the academy. I usually love Korriban because I think the quest lines are fun. Items are dripping with Star Wars aesthetic, and the prestige system is fun to advance the quest. But being light side here really is not the vibe, and I try to do it as quickly as possible. We do the Sith code, we betray Uthura, do 2 temples, which is failing to save Ajunta Paul's soul, and killing the old Academy Master, and then we find the Mandalorian cache, which is actually gets us some dark side points, which was very sad. Totally botched that. This gets us enough prestige to go to the tomb of Nagasato, and here we find out really how far our build has been working, and how funny demolition is when fighting the Tarantex. Whoever steps on this is ingrained in my brain now.
Whoever steps on this, nasty shock. Whoever steps on this will get a nasty shock. Whoever steps on this will get a nasty.
We fail at a puzzle, which I totally forget we didn't need to do. We get an ice grenade, find the star map, and also find the worst lightsaber in the game. Like, why is the Sith lightsaber so bad? It makes no sense. The Sith are just cheapening out on lightsabers, but they got the best ships in uniform in the galaxy? Someone make it make sense. Anyway, we originally side with Uther and kill Uthura, but that gets us dark side points, and I wasn't going to let Korriban give us 2 dark side points. So I reload, and I kill them both for the light side, of course. We then have to kill our way out of Korriban, which is always so much fun, and then we can finally head to Yavin 4. Once we get to Yavin 4, we get ambushed, die, and then try again, save the station, and finally buy our best in slot weapon. And this upgraded heavy blaster does fire damage, and we're like topping out at like 48 plus damage. With all of this equipment, we're ready for the Starforge. Of course, if you know, you know, but it's not that simple. We crash land on some tropical islands, and honestly, as a blaster-only user with limited AoE for this run, I do not want to be here. So from the get-go, we just pick a fight with the first tribe we run into so we can save their elder's buddy here, and then we speed things up. We speed run through any dialogue options explaining to the natives here how, as humans, we have every right to rename ourselves, change our identities, and for them to just let us into their sacred temple. We make it into the big bad Sith temple here, run around, kill some droids, discover in the restored content mod that there's just this moment with the Sith. We find out they have bad health insurance and won't cover this woman's spinal column surgery.
Didn't find the ship, but we stumbled across one of those rancors. None of us escaped unscathed, but I got the worst of it. The beast snapped my spine in the battle. I can't even walk anymore. You think I'm gonna tell you all the Sith secrets just because I'm crippled?
And then eventually we find Bastila, who we absolutely truck with blaster fire before she runs away. So we shut down the ship disruptor here, fix our ship, and explain to the crew that Bastila has a Dark Force problem, and that we should probably get going to the Starforge. I'll preface that the Starforge, being a blaster-only user and impossible here is Bantha Poodoo. There are so many enemies, and they never stop coming. We die because I was too lazy to save and figured we'd be unstoppable at this point with full best in slot gear. And after like the 3rd attempt, we make it through the Starforge. I mean, we've got to make like 1 pit stop here to get these cool as hell Starforge robes, which somehow gives us 1 more AC than Kayla Lord's armor. So that's crazy, but it brings us up to 30 AC before messing up Bastila's day. And then we convert her back to the light side. And then we find out hacking computers is the best skill in the game. So, all of this brings us here, the big bad guy fight. We stim the hell out of ourselves, shield up, dialogue, drop some mines, heal in between pauses, then run around destroying every single medical tank here just to make Malak's fight go by quicker. And I have to be honest here, we still almost lose. Malak hits so damn hard and through our crappy shields. This is like kind of one of those moments that I knew we should have bought more shields, but we get this killer endgame snipe just to finish the game. Which is funny, because I think we have to trigger the final cutscene by approaching him because we kill him from so far away. And with that, we save the galaxy, and we get off the Starforge and let the explosions go on behind us. We're awarded with the congressional honor of being an absolute badass with amnesia, and we get this funny cutscene. Challenge complete. Blasters only on impossible mode. Honestly, this challenge was a blast. Pun intended. It definitely did make me think a lot more about combat in KOTOR, and really made me plan around using consumables, positioning, and actually switching between party members. There was no autopiloting through combat. So to find a challenge and enjoyment out of this game that I've played so many times over the years, and still feel like there was something new here, that was a reward in of itself. I don't think I'll do a blaster-only playthrough of KOTOR 1 anytime soon, but it was worth doing. I'm looking to do one more challenge run and do a video for it, which should be fun. So if you do subscribe, or like this video, I'm hoping that the next video will find you in the coming weeks. Of course, if you're a KOTOR fan, or have your own challenges, or just stories around KOTOR, I'm always happy to read them and hear about them. If you've watched this video and made it to the end here, I appreciate that you spend the time of your day listening to me. Thank you so much. Talk to you soon.
This is the destiny of the Jedi.